What is going on, guys? Today we are back to talk about one thing: cologne. Now, if you're a woman and you want to wear cologne, that's fine. Don't click away from this video because everything that I'm going to say right now also applies to perfume. I'm just speaking from my personal experience, which happens to be cologne. And I think something that we both share in common, no matter who you are, is that we all want to smell good. So I want to make sure that we do it the easiest way, the most convenient way, and the most cost-effective way. Now, I'll share what works for me. If something else works for you, then I fully recommend you do that. I'm just sharing what I've learned and what I've experienced in my life. Now, first I want to talk about the journey that a man that was once a boy gets to, like where he starts before he's, building or amassing, a huge cologne collection. For me, I know it started with body spray, Axe body spray, or even the Hollister body spray when I was in high school. And I remember always having this feeling that not even a half an hour after I left the house, I didn't smell it anymore. And I thought, am I just getting used to the smell? Is the wind blowing the smell off my clothes? But I always felt like from the time I left my house until I got to school, the smell was already gone. And that it was a waste, which sucked because I thought I smelled pretty good. And, I arrived to school with no scent at all. And I would douse myself, especially Axe, because Axe came first. Axe was middle school. By the time I was in high school, I kind of had the going on, little 5-point. But when I was in middle school, I would completely just head to toe douse myself, right? So we start off there. And then I kind of got out of just scents, completely throughout my later years in high school. And then, around 19, 20, I was completely off it. I just had no scent at all, soap, that was it. That's all I would smell like, and then I started getting into, me personally, I started getting into scented body lotions because then I got really into moisturizing, which I still do, but that was when I really first started because, I was teenage boy, I wasn't moisturizing. Not as much as I should, if I did every now and then. And so I liked scented lotions and stuff like that because I said, okay, I knew this scent lasted longer. But there was a part of me that still wanted to know that I had a cologne that was my scent. And I wanted to know my scent. And I wanted to, even just to have a cologne that I just put on every time that, every time I had a special occasion or something like that. And I said, okay, and I can just use my scented lotions for everyday basis, And so I had to start on that journey. And I went to endless malls, endless boutiques, endless testers, and you can only smell so many scents at one time before everything kind of gets blended in and you get a headache. And I noticed whether it was designer or cheap cologne, I won't name names, but a lot of them had this generic alcohol scent. I still don't even know how to describe it, but it felt very generic cologne scent, there was nothing specific to it. You couldn't pick up any specific notes. Nothing spoke to me to say this is for a particular individual or this is for a particular moment in time or, occasion. This isn't a go. They were just generic. They were bland. They were blank. And so I was thinking, well, is this how all cologne is? And then we arrive here. So about 3 years ago, my girlfriend, for our anniversary, purchased me my first official, like full bottle of cologne. And I still have it here today. It is Acqua di Parma Colonia Intensa. Sorry if I'm butchering that. But this is what it looks like. And it was the 3.4 ounces. Right, so there's still a little bit in there left because I was like, all right, I know this is expensive, and I want to use it for special occasions, right? And so even then, I'm like, all right, I have a cologne now, and I would kind of douse myself in it. I kind of went back to my roots from middle school and high school. I would I'm spraying my pants, I'm spraying my shirt, I'm spraying my neck, probably my face sometimes, honestly, probably my arms sometimes, I was just really just dousing myself in it. And I guess because now that I was dealing with a higher quality spray, it would last longer, but I used a lot more of it very fast, and this is a lot more expensive than Hollister cologne. But also, it was too much, and it got to the point where even I got sick of the scent very quickly. And I just said there has to be a better way. So one day on the internet, some Instagram post or something, I saw a post about hot points and the proper way to apply cologne or apply perfume, and how a lot of us do it all wrong. And from there I did further research. And so as humans, we run hot, and we have certain points on our body that the temperature is higher than other places. And when applying a fragrance, to these areas, it allows the scent to emit more and emit for a longer period of time. So instead of spraying, your cologne on your arm, which might be weird for you to do in the first place, you would spray it on your neck or your chest or your wrist. And so we have a few of those hot points. And so instead of dousing half a bottle of expensive cologne on you every day before you leave the house, instead you can do spritz, 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 spritz. That's four spritz a day. Or you can even, do it a little bit later, but you're seriously decreasing the amount of sprays and the amount of cologne that you're using, thus making the cologne last a lot longer, while also not overwhelming yourself or anybody else with the scent, so you can tolerate it for a lot longer, and so you get more for your money, and you're that much more likely to keep using it. Because, no offense to Acqua di Parma, because they have a bunch of other scents that I really like and want to try out, I went about this the completely wrong way, and so now I don't like it. I can't stand this scent anymore. I gave it a few months break, so maybe again someday, but I was completely sick of it at one point. I'm here on this channel to give complete honesty and transparency, so that's what we're gonna do. So now we've gotten that out the way. You don't have to do a million sprays. You really just need 1 to 2 on your neck. Like sometimes if I'm doing something very casual, like going to the mall or even just running to the supermarket, I might just do 1 spritz right here. Or you can do, 1 on each side. I typically gravitate to that more. And then 1 to 2 on your wrist. Again, if it's super casual, I'll do 1 on my wrist and I'll press. If it's a little bit less casual, or I'm going somewhere where I'm going to be out longer, where I want the scent to last longer, I'll do an individual spray on each wrist. Now something else, because there's more that you need to know. Once you're doing this, I learned that, and then for a few months, I was going about it this way, and I wasn't entirely doing it the way that I was supposed to, and this is what I learned among further research. If your cologne, if your fragrance is alcohol based, right, the more concentrated that the spray is, the stronger and the longer that the scent will last, right? So when you spray cologne on your neck or your wrist and then you rub it in, which is something that I feel like I would see a lot in the media or, see people do, you're breaking up those, you're breaking up the concentration of it, which is going to make it evaporate and dissipate a lot faster. So when you, spritz and then rub it in, whether it be your wrist or your neck, you're just cutting the life of the scent short. Now that was something very hard to break that habit out of because I was just so used to, especially the wrist, just, like seeing that like, pss, pss. And no, you don't want to do that. The most optimal way, in my opinion, for you to apply your cologne is you spritz each side of your neck, leave it, spritz, leave it, let it dry. And also, to increase the heat that you have going in those hot points to emit a stronger scent and to also put a barrier in between your skin and the alcohol-based fragrance that you're using, is to apply whatever moisturizer or lotion that you're going to use beforehand. One, because if you apply it afterhand, you're going to be, like I said before, just obliterating the concentration of the fragrance itself, but also to put that barrier in between your skin and the alcohol. And it heats up the hot point, so you get a better effect. So moisturize your neck, put lotion on your neck, moisturize your wrists and your hands, and then you apply the cologne. That is also another reason to only use these hot points instead of spraying it on your clothes, is because if you care about your clothes and the longevity of, these garments, you're spraying an alcohol-based product on them repeatedly day after day, and that alcohol is going to slowly or rapidly eat at the garment, and it will deteriorate the quality of, the fabric itself, more than likely. So you want to keep it on your skin, and even then, you want to use that barrier of protection. Now, hope I'm not talking you guys' ear off too much. Now that that's through, what do you do once you have all this knowledge about how to get more out of less cologne, right? Or how to use it over a longer period of time. How to get the most out of what you have. For me personally, someone who is on the go a lot, traveling a lot, not home a lot, commuting a lot, and you want the most convenience out of everything, I went for a more appropriate size, and I got a travel cologne. So one of my most popular scents I use right now is Mason Margiela's Jazz Club. This is where we go into cost efficiency as well. Not only are you more cost efficient because you need to replace your cologne less because you are using less of it, but you also don't have to buy an entire bottle. This is 3.4 ounces. I don't know the price of this off the top of my head, but I think it might be somewhere between 120 to 150. I'll find it and link it below with the correct stats. So sorry if I'm wrong. This is a travel size cologne, and you can get this one for $35. I know a lot of them, like a lot of the high-end ones, are around this price. I know Tom Ford has a few for I think about $60. Not only are these better because it's smaller, so it's less likely to break when you are traveling, but also you don't want to travel somewhere and you can't take your nice cologne in your carry-on, which I personally like having especially my smaller valuable items on my person when I travel, just in case, because it's too large. And then you have to leave it home, and it's like I spent a certain amount of money on something. I want to be able to take it with me wherever I please so that I can use it at ease. So it makes it a lot more convenient. It's a lot more affordable. So if there's a certain scent that you're not sure about and you want to try out a little test run or so, you can spend a lot less money. And if you find that you don't even need that much of it because you're doing what I said, or also the scent is just of such a quality that it lasts a very long time, where you find yourself only putting it on once a day, this might be the perfect size for you in general, and you may never need to buy a larger quantity. This is, let me see if I can find the amount on here. I know they put it somewhere. So this one is, I'm really trusting my site. I believe that says 10 milliliters, 0.34 ounces. This is written very small. So I'm trusting my 2020 vision. Again, I will link it below so all is forgiven, and it will have all the correct stats in the description. I love travel size. I throw this in my backpack. When I'm traveling, I throw it in my duffel bag. And it is very affordable, it's very easy to replace, and it lasts me a long time. So this is like my go-to now. And again, if you travel, it's the travel size. When I wanted to try out new fragrances, this is the one I tried out. And now I'm hooked. And now this is one of my favorite scents that I have. Also, discovery boxes from brands. I know Le Labo has some, Margiela has some. I get most of these things from Sephora. And it has introduced me to a lot of new scents now that I know those different scents that I like, and I kind of strayed away from the mall graveyard of generic colognes. There's a lot of ways. I think Le Labo has discovery sets for as low as $15 to $25. There's a lot of ways to have access, to these higher end colognes without exactly breaking the bank, especially before you, because it might be nothing to you, right? But you still don't want to invest a certain amount of something in a product if you don't know if it's worth it. And I think we all want to get the most bang for our buck. And on that note, I think I've said all there is to say on this subject. If not, if you have any additional questions, let me know in the comments and we could do a part 2. For now, my name is Don Lee. Have a good night.